Hey, everybody. She's drinking.
Hi, that's what I do. Cheers, everyone. So, hey, I have a message today. I have a controversial message today for divine feminines who are involved with divine masculines who are still within a karmic relationship.
Okay.
This message came because we were helping Jim and I are both helping a divine feminine twin deal with her cyclical journey with her divine masculine, and they go through the same cycles of not spending the time together, and then they spend time together, and then they're frustrated afterwards, and it's just become a real problem, as many of you probably are experiencing.
Yeah.
And so, in helping her, Jim channeled, hardcore channeled, spirit coming and talking to her about this situation, and questioned her and tested her and gave her, input. Really jogged her way of thinking about all of this, and it really jogged mine too. The next day, I channeled some more myself, and I really feel like the message that Spirit has to share with us is really, really helpful. So it might be a little controversial, but sticking with authentic.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
I'm just going to spit it out. So if this resonates with you, great. If this helps you, great. If any of you have any questions, Jim and I are both available for, twin guiding sessions. If you have any questions, put the comments below. But basically, my stand on this after having all of this time directly with Spirit is cut it off. As much as
Like end the relationship, or
not end the relationship, but you have to compartmentalize it into a twin soul relationship as long as your counterpart is involved and committed to a karmic relationship, whether it's a marriage or a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
whatever that is. Yeah.
Whatever that is. Yeah, you've got to, because otherwise you're not going to progress. And so I wrote a bunch of notes, and I'd like to go through why that makes sense.
Yeah, I think some of that makes. I already got a bunch of ideas. So I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Right. So the first thing is we were having a session with, this feminine twin, and I just really want to respect her privacy and her twin's privacy, and so I'm just going to refer to them like they're just these little ghost people, very anonymous. But her and I, were meeting with Jim, and Jim started channeling like a champ. It was ridiculous because I could just see it on his face. He's like, oh my gosh, and spirits were everywhere. They had something to say to this twin, to the point where they basically tried to just kick you out of your own way and take over. So
they were definitely. It was a lot of them. Some of them were there to talk to you too directly, not so much your twin, or not your twin, but your lady who was the twin. And I was having a hard time. It was a lot of information, too much, and I was still learning to adjust at times. A lot of urgency and a lot of desire, and there was definitely a couple spirits that were just really, really anxious to convey. And then I started getting lots of flood, just too much. I couldn't understand it. It was weird language stuff. And I said, I said, I'm having a hard time understanding you, and that's when they're like, well, and they just jumped right on in and took exactly what I asked them to do. And so after the races you went, it was a lot. I was in and out of that conversation at different times. I don't remember a lot in some parts, which has been challenging at times when that's happening. But I'm glad you were able to get a lot of information, both of you, out of that.
No, it was amazing because you turn into like this conduit, and you've got all these spirits talking to you, and you're just spouting off stuff. And some of this stuff I know is not coming straight from you. I know it's not coming from you because it doesn't sound like you. You're even at one point referring to yourself as Jim, and this guy just took over, spokesperson for, the other spirits that had something to say. That's what it felt like because he was very smart. Anyway. So it's really interesting to watch because you were so connected.
Yeah, it was a deep trance, that's for sure. It was a lot.
Yeah.
I was very tired after that session.
Even at the end, they're like, Jim's fading. Oh, but I know you have more questions. I'm like, can we relieve him? Because I don't want him falling over, It looked like it was wearing you out. But lots of good information, and I really wanted to share why Spirit, it really changed a lot of the perceptions I have about this whole twin journey. So I wrote a list of all of the things that kind of we came up with, and then the very next day I was channeling myself because I had more questions, and I got a little bit of I got a lot of clarity for this particular twin and why what happened to her is happening. But I wanted to share this because I think it's really important. A lot of divine feminines are in the same boat, where your masculine has karmic, and you're not seeing any progress. And you may feel like this should have clicked together a long time ago. There's a lot of frustration. I see in the comments, I see YouTube everywhere, divine feminines just pissed off, or they're frustrated, or they're sick of it, or they're giving up, or whatever it is. But there's way more to it than you know. So I want to share some of this.
Great.
If it resonates with you, great. Doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't.
Well, it's always what we said.
Yeah, so that's that. First of all, Spirit was testing the shit out of me and the twin. They were like, well, how do you know you're even supposed to be together in this lifetime? How do you know? I was like, oh, well, if there's a soul contract, well, who told you that? I mean, it was a straight up test. Some of it was just like challenge. And what they were looking for was how much faith and trust you have in your twin. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. And what I got from that was that, you know, and I had the same thing happen where I was like, well, I'm hardcore. I can get through this journey. I can endure this shit. I can get through it. It's been all this time, but I have faith. And they're like, you're looking at it wrong. Because you're thinking that you're enduring the journey. Like you're enduring the pain of having to go through this the way it's happening. But that really has nothing to do with it. We need you to have faith that your twin is going to show up eventually. Like when it's time, when the divine timing kicks in and it's time for union.
Yeah.
That's what really you need to have faith in. Because you shouldn't have to go through this journey if all of these other things I'm going to explain to you, you've figured out. You shouldn't have to endure it. So don't be proud of yourself and patting yourself on the back because you're going through
pain.
hell. Because
well, that's great to hear in a way too. That means you're going to stand on your own. That's what that means. So that's the message you delivered to this twin, isn't it?
Yep. And then she's like, why did somebody tell me this a year and a half ago? This has been hell. I'm like, well, you know, we should get the message, right? So,
or was it that was the journey that needed to happen to make it so definitive? I could do all kinds of twists, but it's interesting.
Along those lines, okay, let's talk about that. First of all, Spirit said each journey is unique. And here's the problem, is that he's like, you're looking at it like you're going through this twin journey, and, you know, there's so many people that are doing readings. There's so many people that are looking at, you know, the eclipse and different timelines. He said you're looking at that from a 3D perspective, from a human perspective, and you want to schedule it and you want to control it. And even though a lot of this, like the collective, may be aligned in so many different ways, if you're not aligned with your own journey and you're skipping really important steps, you're going to keep flying backwards. So you have to stop looking at this as if you're looking at it from, you know, am I aligned
like
with where I'm supposed to be? Yeah.
Yeah, milestone checkpoints. I see that. I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah. So there's that.
Well, and the important thing, I think, what I'm hearing you say, too, is that the timeline that you think everybody's on, that's the translation from spirit to our world, that time is something they just don't understand. Mm-hmm. I know that.
Exactly.
Some of my journey work I do, I see that. Time is very different. So what a person could be going through here in this thing, thinking they're way behind everybody else, they could catch up really fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you said that while you were chanting, but you didn't remember it afterwards. And I remember you went through your journey like lightning fast. It was like,
yeah.
Oh, there's a bunny. Anyway, little cottontail bunny. I wish we could flip it around and show you.
We were talking about how fast things can go. Time isn't really as relevant.
Right, because time is only linear on the Earth plane for us. Okay, so we need to scrap that. And if you are in a twin relationship where this is what's happening to you, if you're going, I have this. Oh, here's what Spirit said. why do you think he's so special? I was like, he's my fucking twin. It doesn't get more special than that, right? And they're like, yeah, but you're being kind of, and they were kind of mad about it. They were like disgusted that I was treating him special because he was a twin.
Because you needed to stand your own.
Yeah, and what I got
yourself,
from that,
huh?
yeah, after we talked about it, after they kind of challenged me and pounded out of me and her, it was, here's the thing. If you're going around in the cycle because you keep visiting your twin, or you keep being involved with your twin, or you may still have sex with your twin while they're committed to somebody else, or you may hang out with them as friends, but, the karmic doesn't know. If you're doing something that's dishonoring anyone in this relationship, you have to stop for a second and go, am I just doing this because he's my twin? Because I know that we're supposed to have this connection and I'm supposed to have this time with him, and you twins are get pulled back together. You're supposed to come back together and, rebond and reconnect and kind of keep that bond intact. Spirit said no, because what just happened, what you just did is you created a lesson for yourself that you already had mastered. Because you wouldn't do this for any other guy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So you just broke a boundary, and like you're sneaking around or you're doing whatever you're doing. You're not honoring yourself 100% by doing any of that. And there's no way, and like he asked me, would you have done that for any other guys? Fuck no. There's no way in hell I would have been involved with this for anybody else, but I'm doing it for my twin. Why? Because he's my twin. Okay, well, you just created hell for yourself. And that's like a lot of the lesson for many of the feminines is you have to honor yourself. The thing is, too, if you feel like your masculine is behind, you're supposed to be leading. One of you is going to be leading. The masculine just snap out of it tomorrow and go, I'm going to push my whole 3D life aside and I'm going to show up and I'm going to honor you 100%. And then you're following. But until then, if you're not honoring yourself 100%, there's no way in hell he's going to honor himself 100% in his karmic relationship and leave what doesn't serve him. And so you may bitch about the cycle repeating itself as a result when you're actually creating it.
Yeah, or enabling it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So that ties into the cut it off.
Yeah,
Stop
you got to cut it off. You have to cut it off.
That's really hard to ask somebody to do.
It is hard, but here's the thing: if you are completely honoring yourself, I mean, I even went through that, where I got to the point where I'm like, hey, unless you come to me as my twin, unless you can have questions about this relationship, unless you need help with this, because he did admit to me that he was totally confused about it at one point. He said, I'm totally confused about this. Come to me as my twin, or don't come to me at all.
Wow. I definitely bet we'll get some questions from folks about how to approach this subject with your divine masculine who's kind of clueless to the subject.
Right.
Because this is not something you just roll up on somebody and dump on them.
No, you don't. And I do that. I've done that. But there's really nice ways to say it. We can help you with that too. But I think what's important is just, and I have a list of just really quick things. There's ways to communicate this with your divine masculine that's really healthy, that will still honor the bond. So I'm going to go through those in just a second. Yeah, basically that's it.
That's great, short, sweet. I like that. Good message.
Yeah.
I think you've got a lot of content on the site about twins, questions, things too. I think this is one thing definitely people need to come and read. Get some guidance from you on.
For sure,
I could
it's
see
hard.
This would be really hard. Yeah.
It is really hard because it seems counterproductive, but you know what you're doing in maintaining contact with your twin, that's even if you're having lunch with them as a friend and the karmic doesn't know, you're still dishonoring yourself, which means instead of not just going back and completing the cycle, you have to start all over again. You're starting at square one every single time you do that. And I know a lot of times it's like, oh, I'm going to justify it, or I'm going to make excuses in my head to justify why it's okay that I stop and have lunch with him or spend time with him or do whatever it is, even as friends. But you're risking progress every time you do that.
Yeah, I could totally understand that. That's hard. I got to tell you, I know a lot of people in this particular area. A lot of them are very challenged by that.
It's hard.
You're afraid, too. You're going to lose it.
You're afraid you're going to lose your twin, but here's the thing, you're never going to. You're not going to.
I'm just saying, people are feeling.
I know. I felt that way too. I'm like, I can't not, be there to support him.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. And this is what I actually told mine. I said, I feel like I'm enabling you in not helping you do what's best for you. Like, I want you to
focus, sure.
Yeah.
If they're eating in the candy store, why the hell would I stop eating in the candy store? It's a great store.
Right. I can have it off every shelf.
Yeah.
So in dealing with your twin on this, because you're going to get a lot of resistance, you might get them lashing out at you because they're close to you. Mine used to lash out at me. First of all, he was a total smart ass, so I knew he was getting mad because he'd be like, he'd just pop off with something. I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. Just how he responds to stress. But then there was some lashing out, and as some of you are getting lashing out, and if your twin, here's the thing, they're not going to like it. Because you're forcing them to make change. You're forcing them to, okay.
Not everyone's going to fight it, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I have just a couple of pointers on that. And I had a horribly awful marriage with a narcissist years back, and I learned all of this stuff through going to my own counseling through PTSD and all that shit. But it's kind of like, if you can communicate with them, first of all, don't react. Don't react at all. So just kind of prepare yourself for, there might be some resistance, and if there is, don't react to it at all. Number 2, watch your tone. What I learned when I used to deal with my ex is he tried to get what he wanted, so he'd push until he got what he wanted. And my specialist at the time told me, if you always treat him like he's your biggest client, and have that tone of voice with him, okay, John, this is da-da-da-da-da, and just keep everything neutral, everything total neutral tone of voice, total objective conversation, you're not really giving them anything. And it doesn't, and then when you're doing that also, it forces them to only look at their own behavior and their own choices instead of you throwing yours in the mix, and then it gets all messed up. Yeah, then they're focusing on themselves. Stand your ground. You have to be strong in this. Don't make excuses. See them for what they are. They're excuses, and they're really just going to end up, you're going to fuck yourself. Every time, and I did it. I hadn't seen mine for 3 months, and I was like, okay, we can hang out for that one day because I know I'm going to get something out of it. Restart. And then we were in a worse place to begin with. Yeah. So what you can do is, maintain the twin relationship, and that's what you're supposed to be doing anyway. You're supposed to be supporting them. I did an article and a video on telepathy. It's really important to keep in touch with your twin telepathically. Send them support. Send them the love. Heal the blocks. Identify what's going on with him and you. Look at that mirror situation and clear that shit.
All right.
And so anything that you do that helps you, even in your own space, will help him be the leader.
Right. Good advice.
Yeah. And then you got to let go. That's the last thing. And this is the hardest part. It's
your twin. Oh my gosh.
So hard because you're like, and I did this where I just would when I answer my phone or I just go off and quiet. And then of course a week or two later, it's like, hey. And then he wants to talk about his day. And before you know it, we're in this rigmarole of texting all day long. And so this time I was like, I'm not going to do it. Hey, what can I help you with? Hey, good to hear from you. How are things? Great. Okay. What do you need? How can I help you? It's your client, right?
Yeah.
It's the only way you're going to get through it. You got to be compassionate. You got to be loving. Don't be a bitch. But be there to support. Be there to answer questions. And then send them love telepathically. And you know what? The only thing that they're going to do is you're going to have to let go of the fact that they're either going to make the choice to deal with their shit, or they're not. I mean, they could eventually walk away, who knows. But what I do know, too, is that, especially for the first waivers, and you're in this place now where there's so many unions are supposed to be happening, and some people are supposedly so far behind. What I was going to say about that is, the longer they resist, the worse it's going to be for them. And there's nothing you can do about that. Just have to let it go and understand, have trust in God. God's taking care of it. Your twin,
some of us just need a good beating once in a while.
And that too. That too.
Big energetic beating.
An energetic beating. But if you're healing them, if you're doing everything you can, the only thing you can do is let go and let God. And I'll tell you that what I did notice with this particular twin is that I could see what was happening with the repercussions on her masculine side, because at one point for a long time there, he had the option of which he was going to choose. And because he resisted so long, not only did he end up losing one of them, but he didn't get to pick which one it was. So now all of a sudden his twin is bye-bye. He's stuck with his karmic. He's miserable. And it's like, well, you resisted. This is what happens.
Yeah. And that's his journey at this time?
Yeah.
He could come again, see, kind of thing. But, I get it. That makes sense.
If you are going to eventually reach full final union with your twin, this is the last thing, you have to do it from a place of 100% wholeness.
That's wonderful advice. Focus on yourself first. How many times do you hear that in Stephen Covey,
Yeah.
I mean, I can name off a bunch of different subjects around that, but basically it's understanding both sides. You understand your twin.
Yeah.
I'm just reading into this what I'm hearing, but I mean, to me, it's an interpersonal. It's a couples thing too. Counseling I've been through a bunch of times. It's like you got to understand that other person, respect them, but you also have to be whole yourself.
Right.
And if you can't be whole, they can't be whole. So that's brilliant advice.
Well, you hear so much, it's like, well, you got to love yourself. It's like, I love myself. I'm not going to fling myself in front of a semi.
Yeah, but this is different.
This is different, yeah.
This is the process.
But the problem is, and then there's one more thing. People like me, I'm a Capricorn, and I get really stubborn. And I'm like, I'm going to let him go, and I did. I'm like, but what's going to happen is I'm going to be like, see ya, figure it out. See ya, don't want to be ya, whatever.
Yeah.
And then by the time he comes rolling back around him and be like, lost interest, I don't know. Too late.
We shall see.
If I wasn't worth it then, I'm not worth it now. I don't care. Long gone. History. Right.
Right. Whatever.
That's me. Because when I turn my back, that's it. Like, good luck getting back in.
Oh, I'm the same way. I get that.
The only thing I can say about that is, it's your twin.
Yeah.
You're bonded. It'll work out. But you have to honor yourself, and you have to let go and trust that if you're leading, they're going to follow. And you have to send them love and just trust. Trust in God. God knows what he's doing.
And there's support. I mean, there's you. I'm going to point that out. Come out, talk to you.
Yeah.
And read information. Get centered yourself. And it's hard. It's a journey. It never ends.
Yeah,
constantly working on it. Well, you know what I mean.
It'll end.
You're working on yourself eventually. Right, it will. But I mean, it just seems like it never ends because you're always improving.
Yeah. So, love yourself. Step out and do your own thing, and just be vigilant about drawing that line, drawing your boundaries, honoring yourself, and hopefully your twin will do what you can to help them.
Well, thanks for that.
That's it.
I think that's a great message. Yeah, I like it.
It's rude, but hey, it's what it is.
The tree sometimes feels rude.
So if anybody has any questions, put them in the comments.
Please do.
If anybody is really struggling with this, reach out. I'd be happy to talk to you. We also do readings, channeling type stuff, but also guidance sessions for twins, especially like in this situation. This is sometimes you need somebody to help you out.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, one more thing about readings.
Oh, yeah.
If you get readings with me, I'm not going to tell you what your twin's doing and what's going on in their house and I'm not going to be nosy, because I don't think that's helpful for anybody. And not only that, I think, just really quick, if you get a reading and they keep telling you, you're going to be together, then you're thinking, oh, we're going to be together. And then you don't change what you're supposed to change, because now you don't have that mentality of, I need to change. I need something to change. And so if you know this is going to happen, you're not going to do what you naturally would have done, and then you affect your own outcome with changing your own free will. So the way that we do readings, or the way that I do readings, is I try to help you identify what the block is. I try to help you, identify what the objections are, where you guys are struggling, what the best course of action is, and help you kind of sort that out so that you can make progress.
I think it's a healthy way to approach it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not going to say that tonight, but I 100% I think that's a very important thing.
I'm not spying on your
You're
twin.
not building, yeah, exactly. And you're not building crutches.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
That's great.
I want you to go forward and progress,
Yeah.
and so let's.
You're not trying to build a dependency on you. You're trying
Right.
to get that person to move through something. So that's great.
Yeah.
I love that. That's just great. Okay.
So that's that.
Outstanding.
Everybody, have a good evening.
Yeah, take care, everybody. It's good talking to you. I'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.